Let's welcome back Scott McAndrews from the Greater Hazelton Area Astronomical Society. And Scott, when you come here, I probably talk your ear off because I get so excited getting to talk about astronomy. And now I want to do a little show and tell. I went to Cherry Springs, the Dark Sky Park in Pennsylvania recently.
Yes.
Saw the Milky Way for the first time. It really blew my mind. And that's a place you can kind of go and you don't need a telescope or anything. Just sit there and really appreciate the night sky.
It's truly amazing the difference of the sky between here and Cherry Springs. It's unbelievable. The first time I went up there, I was completely lost. I can go around in the night sky around in here and say, here's this. But as soon as the darkness was coming, there's more and more stars coming out. It was just a lighted sky of stars. It was just gorgeous.
What do you remember from your trip there?
A bear.
You remember it was on the ground. See, it's good to appreciate Earth sometimes, too.
That's right. I remember one of our members said to me, Scott, when you find the Andromeda Galaxy, let me know. Because he was looking around for it. I was moving my suit. I said, what is that, Gary? He comes over, looks in the scope, and goes, oh yeah, that's Andromeda. So it's pretty cool what you can really see. And you can see it naked eye. If you got a dark sky, that's the most distant object you can see with the naked eye, is the Andromeda Galaxy.
That blew my friends' minds. I think a whole other galaxy you're seeing with your naked eye, and it's so bright. We saw there's 3 meteor showers going on. There was just this flash. I was lining up my telescope, and I thought, this is it. I felt like a dinosaur. I thought, this is the end. It was just so bright. And then we were able to see, I have this video I want to show of, every now and then I'll spot a satellite in my telescope, which is fun. I still track them. Naked eye, I just track this satellite right across the sky. There's other things up there to look at.
Yeah, there is International Space Station. There's all sorts of, if you have an app that you can get, that will show you what's up in the night sky, when they're going to be appearing, all sorts of other things, So those are another thing to look for. Satellites and the flares from Meridians and all sorts of other stuff that are out there.
Now, I'm on the mailing list for the Greater Hazelton Astronomical Society, and the moment we came home from Cherry Springs, we got a great shot of the Milky Way. My buddy Joe Chunko took. Check this out. But all of a sudden, there was this link to this YouTube video. I think you said Gary Hannes. Yeah, I mean, it was incredible, the shots.
He takes incredible images. The man is super smart. He's hacked into his camera, and he's got this camera so that it cools it right down. So while it's taking images, he can burn images really well. It's just amazing what he does. And he spends a good penny on his equipment, but the shots that you get from him is just amazing.
Yeah, it's priceless. That'll make you appreciate the night sky. Now, you don't have to make, I mean, you should, because it's really not that far away. I think like an hour and a half, 2 hours of Cherry Springs. Still look up around here, and with the fall coming, let's talk a little bit about the fall sky. I've only had my telescope not even a year yet, so I haven't experienced the fall sky with it. What can we look out for?
Well, let's see, later on, well, anytime you're up all night, I mean, the constellations do come around. So you'll see Taurus the Bull, you'll see the Pleiades and Orion coming up. Those are a little bit more prevalent in the fall time and throughout the winter. That's great to look at because there's 2 naked eye nebula. There's the one in the Orion, which you see this sword in his belt. That's a naked eye nebula. And then, of course, I just mentioned the Pleiades at the head of Taurus the Bull. That's another type of nebula that you can see naked eye.
So I was watching Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he was talking about the Pleiades, and the story that I heard was the cluster there, 7 sisters, they were being chased by Orion, which is right near the Pleiades. And eventually, Orion was chasing them, and I guess Zeus or somebody wanted to save them and put them up in the night sky, just out of his reach. And the interesting thing in Cosmos was they said eventually Orion will move very close to Pleiades. And they said right before he could capture them, all the stars in Orion will be supernova.
The lure of the stars in the night sky and how people perceived them in the ancient times, and what was going on. It's a foreboding signal or something, especially when eclipses would happen or lunar eclipses. So they just didn't understand it half the time, so they made stories up for a lot of this stuff. And it's very, very interesting. It's another great side of astronomy.